All right, all right, all right, all right. Welcome back, guys. We're just going to do a little nightly review, and I thought it would be a cool little process to show you what my daily order of operations is. Now, I learned this from the guys over at Chart Champions, and I have found it to be super, super effective. No matter if you're trading the NQ, the ES, I mean, whatever you're trading. Today, we're going to be going through the example of Bitcoin. So one of the first things that I like to do when I come to the chart is I just really just like to look at it. I'll start off on maybe a medium time frame, and I'll just look at it. Really just start to look at it and say, all right, what are we doing here? What type of environment is this? Right? This right here, what we're in right now, is a corrective environment, right? uh, Zoom out a little bit and say, is this corrective environment taking any lows? Are we in some kind of, like you see here, this little correction, this little correction, this little correction? These all leave these little footprints. And then when we return to them, we would say to ourselves, oh, okay, this behavior is probably responding to this previous behavior. Just looking at it, no indicators, no nothing, really just getting into the what type of trading environment is this? All right, I'm going to get rid of this real quick for you. Just what type of environment is this? What has changed since the last session? So I'm at the charts every single day, but if you're ever coming to the chart and you haven't been at the chart a little while, or maybe you're TAing some kind of new coin, right? The first thing you just want to say is like, where's price trying to go? I love this that Daniel says, where's price trying to go? And how good of a job is it doing getting there? This I could just quickly just realize that price was going up, 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 up. And now we're starting to go a little bit downwards. Corrective phase, just noting it, nothing too serious. And after you do this, you'll start to get better at it. So from there, I like to kind of zoom on in, maybe the 30-minute, and just say, what has changed since the last session? So since the last session for me, I was looking at this pivot. This morning I woke up and we were coming from this pivot right here. So that's going to be my focus. Usually I like to look at the last two pivots. So maybe I might say here, and pivot here. These are the last two pivots, because the next question I like to ask myself is, what are we moving away from? So we're just going to go back a little bit. We're going to say, what type of environment is this? Well, really locally, this is a real shitty type of environment. As you can see here, we saw this big wick to the downside, and then we continued up, and then we just had this big flush downwards, and then this fast move up. So really, I'm saying to myself, okay, this is really, I can just tell visually that a lot of people are getting knocked out of the box right now. So immediately I know this probably isn't the environment that I want to trade in. I might just want to wait for something a little bit more predictable, maybe get up to a level of, just maybe just start taking out some highs and see what happens at some highs. In this case, it would probably be these highs up here, or maybe just wait till we take out some lows. There's no bad in being flat, right? Flat is a position. Cash is a position. You don't always have to be in a trade. And that's what wrecks more traders than anything. Trading is a business where most of the time you're going to be doing nothing, right? You're sharpening your axe. Practicing patience is good trading. I hear a lot of people a lot of times say, I'm just taking a lot of trades, just trying to practice or get my win rate up. It's like, no. Practicing patience, even if you're missing good trades, you're still practicing patience and studying trade. There's always going to be another trade. There's always going to be another trade. Don't ever kick yourself and say, God, I got that trade. That's like getting out of a bad relationship and then taking your fears and regrets to the next relationship. You should always come to a new day of trading like you're in a new relationship. New love, baby. Let that shit go and let it go with love. So one of the next questions I like to ask myself is there any evidence of trapped traders, right? What are we moving away from, right? If this big wick down here, we come down here and there was like a big open interest increase and a real huge volume, or maybe there was a massive open interest decrease and then we moved out of the way of that, then I know immediately, you know what? A bunch of people got stopped out. If you know what you're moving away from, you can get a better indication of where you're going. So with that, then I usually go into my structure and level construction. So from that, always starting high time frame. Why do you always start on the high time frame? Because you could be trading a micro position that is coming into some macro level. So of course, I like to introduce my high time frames. And as I zoom on down, I'm only having each level present itself on the level that I'm on. So how you do that is you come over here and let's say you have a weekly level. You right click on that. You come down here on visibility on intervals. And then you just say the current interval and below. That way, if you're up here on the monthly, you don't have daily, weekly, 4-hour levels that are on everything. You're only focusing on the levels that matter so they're easier to see. Like right here, we might come here and we might say, this is a monthly open right here. Let me unlock this. Might say this is a monthly open, right? And now if I come down, now that monthly open is there, and you can see that that monthly open is stacked on a weekly level. Okay, that's very important. As I come down here to the daily, I start to see, oh, okay, here we go. Now this daily is actually taken out, so I can erase this daily. And I can say, are there any new daily levels? Nope, nothing there. So now I get an idea of where things are, right? I can start to say, I'm very spread out up here. And I have some higher time frame levels down here. Now I'll do this just once, and every time I do a level, I will clone it. Because when you clone a level, then it takes that same memory that you're assigning it. So for example, I have this daily level. This daily level, visibility on intervals, it won't show on a weekly level because I say current interval and below. Then if I clone it, and then I just drag it to where I want it, I have to unlock it first. If I drag it to where I want it, maybe down here, when I go up a level, it's not there, right? So that's a little key and that's a little tip just to keep your charts looking nice and clean. So now I have my high time frame horizontals. You're always going to be basing everything off of your horizontals, right? From there, I like to get into just maybe my ranges. Now I'll have my local range where I'm just focused on this, right? Maybe just this local consolidation here. That way I can just always come here. I can always drag it out and I can say, where am I at in the grand scheme of things? Okay, I'm coming from the value area low, nice big wick, and I'm seeing a little bit of resistance here at the point of control. Oh, okay, let me introduce my high time frame levels to see if anything stacks up. Okay, look at that. I've got a daily level on that value area high, and I've also got some levels that are stacking up on this down here as support. So I've got a little support stacking up there and a little resistance stacking up here. Okay, great. One of the things that I like to do on everything is I like to have everything nice and organized. That way I can just quickly and seamlessly go through everything. So as you can see here, if I come here on this range, if I go, even if I say this is only going to be visible on this range, right? Visible on intervals, current interval, and below. That way, if I come up to the weekly, I don't have that interval there. Now I'm looking at a bigger interval. Now I'm looking at this whole consolidation. I can adjust this as needed. Let me come here. And maybe some time has passed. And it's time to, where is that? Some time has passed and I need to drag this out a little bit. So come here, I'll unlock this and I'll drag it out and see if anything has changed. As you can see here, the value area low is shifted down a little bit. So I just want to come here to this. Also, I keep everything locked, unlock, right? And then boom. Now I can see I'm at the point of control of the bigger range. And then if I zoom out even more, I also have a global range where I'm looking at the last couple of years of data. So this is very, very good just so you can quickly just come here and say, where am I at globally? Where am I at locally? Where am I at with high time frame levels? This helps you, and it doesn't take long, but it helps you just to formulate a plan. Because one of the things that I like to do, let's say I'm here on the 5 minute, right? I'm looking here at the 5 minute and I just want to say, where am I at in the grand scheme of things? Let's bring up my local range. Okay, I'm at the local range point of control and I'm right above the bigger range point of control. I'm at this value area low. I need to adjust this a little bit. This is my value area low of my local range, right? And so quickly and easily on the low time frame, I can see where I'm at with the higher time frame bias. So this way, if you're ever here on the chart and you're just trading the 5 minute, right, and you just want to bring everything up because everything's going to be much more spread apart here, I can say to myself, oh, okay, well, it makes more sense because price is always looking for something and it's always looking to do something. So if I flip this point of control, I'd say I go up, where's the nearest level of resistance? Let me bring in my VWAPs. Okay, I've got some VWAPs up here. Let me bring in my VWAP support. Okay, I've got some support here that's flipped to resistance. With this system and this method, you can really shortcut yourself and you can say, now I start to know where I am and where I'm going. So one of the things that I like to use a little bit of order flow to know what I'm moving away from. So for example, I like to use ExoCharts, ATAS. You could even use it on TradingView, but I'm going to look at a little order flow on ExoCharts. So for this, I'm looking at delta candles, right? So here we are, we'll go on the 30 minute. So now basically I'll get rid of this VWAP. And so now I'm just looking at open interest, cumulative volume delta, and delta cluster candles. So this really, I'm just looking at the highs and the lows. So believe it or not, that this and this are the exact same thing, right? So if I want to look at this wick, right, and I want to know who's inside of that wick, is there anybody trapped in there? Come on over here to ExoCharts. There's that wick. I can tell when we went down, the open interest just dumped and the CVD just dumped. And then if I zoom on in, I can see that that was a massive high volume candle. This is my footprint bar statistics. And here I only have volume, delta, and the number of trades. I don't know why I have that trades count in there. But I can see that that was a high volume candle that went to the downside and everybody got pushed out. Price went up to the upside and now really there wasn't any trapped traders in there. But what happened was price came down, it stopped everyone out because I can see all those positions leaving the market. Whenever you see open interest dumping, you know that people just got bumped out of the market. So what happens when you get bumped out of the market and then you see price reversing? Usually you're going to jump right back in. So then you can see that open interest increasing. There's everybody jumping back in. We fall back a little bit and then we continue to the upside. This I mainly just look at to see who's trapped in the pivots. What happened at the pivots? What are we moving away from? This is what I call my participation and information check. So the first thing that I always like to do is review context. I just like to look at it. What does it look like? Does it look like it's flowing? Is it a choppy environment? The next thing is my structure and level construction. High time frame levels, my volume levels, my VWAPs, right? I always start with the naked chart, then always move to structure and level construction. One of the third things I want to do is I want to look at the behavior of the participants. What are we moving away from, right? Is there somebody trapped in this wick? Is open interest increasing? Is everybody going long? Is it neutral? Is there a divergence? This skill set is something that is, well, first off, it's built on a very volatile market, right? It's always going to be changing. There's always going to be different combinations. And your goal isn't to become an expert at, the goal is to become proficient in reading the behavior of the market. It isn't to, I don't even know. It's just to know who's where, what's price doing, where's it going, and who is involved in it and what's their behavior. If you practice this method, you will really start to see how price unfolds and you will start to get trapped a lot less because you're looking at the behavior of participants. If you're going to be a successful trader, it's going to take really studying not only what is price doing, but who is doing it, where are you positioned, and then really you can start to make a plan, right? Right here, I can already see if we come up to the top of this value area high, I can see that there is some resistance here, right? I can see that this is previously a level of, right? Whenever we come up here, we seem to turn around. So there is a little supply there. This could even be possibly, right? This whole deal, right? Maybe it's something like this. Whoop, that's how you get that trend line, right? So then here, you're looking again, not just to short this just because there's a line there. That is, I mean, you can trade like that and you might be successful at it, but it's more saying this is a zone where I can tell that price wants to go. Let me wait till price gets there, and then I'm going to look at the behavior. I'm trading the reaction of others' action. If I come up to the top here and I start to see a visual market structure change with high volume and maybe some trap traders, then I can think, you know what? The highest probability is here that it's a good time to short. This is really what's going to separate you from everyone. Thinking about the market, thinking about where you are, and thinking about the behavior of participants. Give it a shot, make it your own way, introduce things how you want, but always, always, always be an informed trader. Make it simple and make it fun. All right, guys, that's about it. I'll see you next time.